Hey everybody, this is Dana with CoachDanaInspires.com, and I am so excited to be here today for business inspiration. And for those of you who may not know me, I am a coach and I coach women entrepreneurs. I help them find their value, find their exact perfect client, put it together, and change lives. But today, it's all about our guest, and our guest today is Matt Schlegel, and he is with Schlegel Consulting. And Matt, we are excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, Dana. Thanks so much for having me.
We're excited to have you here. We're going to be talking today about how a systematic approach to team problem solving really leads to effective and lasting solutions. I think that's one thing that people are really looking forward to. We want lasting solutions, not just something that's one off, you know? So this is really exciting. So before I get in it, I really want to know, how are you? How's your family? We're moving through this COVID thing. Is everybody safe and secure?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. And everybody in the family as well. We're navigating all of these, the pandemic, and but very optimistic that we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now.
Yay, great. So speaking of the light at the end of the tunnel, which is not a train, I'm convinced of that. You talk to clients, you've got business people that you talk to all the time. What are they saying? Are they optimistic? Again, we're a year past this shutdown. What are you feeling from your clients and the other business people that you speak to?
Oh, I think generally people are very optimistic at this point. People, there's certainly the pandemic fatigue that we've all gone through, and I think just with vaccines rolling out, it's spring, the weather's turning nice. I think everybody's feeling very ready to get out and experience the world again. And me personally, I'm looking forward to actually going to a baseball game in person.
Yay!
Wouldn't that be fun?
I think so, yes. And I'm not even a baseball fan, but I would love to go to a baseball game live right about now.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Well, that's super good. And yeah, I think this is, we are, you said, this pandemic fatigue is just, I think getting on all of us is, I told my husband, if I don't get on a plane soon, I may explode. I need to go. I need to, love you, honey, but I need to get out of Dodge.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
And it's fascinating, different people have weathered this, more or less better, right? And it's interesting. Some of us just are dying to get out of the house. Some of us are like, you know what, this isn't that bad. It's remarkable.
Yes. Well, I don't know about you, but we extroverts, we need to get out.
Exactly.
We need to be out there, and doing a presentation on Zoom. Thank you for Zoom, and that's one thing this pandemic has done is really turned us on to Zoom in a much more user-friendly way. We understand it better, we use it more, and that's been great. And we can talk to people all over the world, and yay! And that's a fabulous thing that's happened. But there's nothing like being in front of a live audience and giving that presentation and getting that feedback. And oh yeah, I'm ready.
Yes,
you,
indeed. I hear you.
I'm ready. So what can we do? What can we do as business owners, entrepreneurs? What can we do right now that would really take us a step forward?
Well, I think we have to continue to do a lot of the things that we have been doing, which is, staying connected to people. And you bring up the really great point that, even though Zoom has allowed us to stay connected in meaningful ways, both, visually and through audio, having in-person meetings is, there's an additional dimension to communication. There's a lot of nonverbal communication that goes on. when you're actually with somebody that's really important to making connections as human beings. And
Yeah.
so I think it's, I think as we're able to do that, that we're going to want to do more of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there's something like that warm and fuzzy handshake at the end of a presentation or laughter. I mean, you can see people going, but that's not the same. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, enough of our boo-hooing about get out there and be with people. Um, you know, you're really focused on team problem solving. What on earth made you go, I want to focus on problem solving? What started all this, Matt?
Well, it's, I think, since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be an engineer, and engineers are problem solvers at heart. And so I went through, school, learning engineering and
Yeah,
solving problems. And so I think it's just kind of built into me that I was going to be a problem solver.
great. Yeah, and engineers have that mind. I think they have this way of being able to kind of take it down to the basics, and I think that really takes the issues and the problems and the challenges that we run into for someone to be able to take it down. That is such a talent and a way of thinking that really can help the
Exactly.
situation and find answers that a lot of us wouldn't see.
Right.
I'm this person. I'm a big picture person, and so for me to go like this, yeah, it takes me a while, but for you, I think it's fabulous, and it's great that you are helping uh, teams and companies really make a difference in their process and their business operations. Just by probably, you think, well, duh, problem solving. It's not that easy. Otherwise, we'd all be doing it, right?
Right.
Um, so, why is a systematic approach to team problem solving? Why is that so important? What do you mean systematic, and why is it important?
Right. Right. So, you know, one of the things that as I moved through my career, I was asked to become a manager at some point, and I was wondering why are you asking me to be a manager? I don't know anything about managing people. I only know about managing electrons. And they said, don't worry, you'll be fine. And of course, I'm not fine. I'm worried. So I really took it to heart to try to explore different ways of getting teams to work well together. And one of the things that I came across, as you go through as a manager, you might go through a lot of different training in Myers-Briggs or DISC. And well, one of the things I came across was this system called the Enneagram. And the Enneagram is commonly known as a personality system equivalent to a DISC or a Myers-Briggs. And it's very, very effective at that. And so I used it to get to know my team, get my team to know one another, their different styles, and that was a great use of the Enneagram. But my engineering mind just kept working, and it's always asking questions. So one of the things about the Enneagram is that there's numbers, right? That instead of letters or colors, or it's actually numbers 1 through 9. And I was like, why? Why is it 1 through 9?
Yeah,
And as I studied it more, I found that it's not just a personality system. It's all that those numbers actually describe an order of things. And thinking about it more, I realized it's the order in which people solve problems. So there is a personality dynamic associated with each one of those Enneagram types. And each one of those dynamics is exactly the dynamic you want at that point in problem solving. right? So
Yeah.
so just for instance, type 1 sometimes it's called the perfectionist. And they're the first ones to say, you know what? That's not right. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like this. And what's the first step in problem solving? It's identifying, hey, there's a problem. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like this. So, and that aspect of the Enneagram isn't widely understood or used, which is why I was compelled to write my book to describe that aspect of it. And I started using the Enneagram as essentially a problem-solving process, getting the teams to work through these steps together. And it is just phenomenal, the results you get. So that's why I was really, I bought into this systematic approach once I saw it playing out so well on teams.
Right, right. I think that's interesting because you could take that and then put a team together, because all of us on a team, whether it's a small team or a big team, big company, little company, or you're in a social group or a but not nonprofit group, a volunteer group. You have these different team members, and we all have such different personalities, different traits, different communication style. All that is so different, and to be able to put it into a process that each person is utilized to their best traits. Is that what this
Exactly.
is? Yeah. Wow, that's great. My husband happens to be an engineer. My dear sweet John, he's an engineer. Love him to death. Drives me insane.
Of
And
course.
it's very interesting. We'll be looking at something, and he has a completely different view of it than
Yes.
me. And that's even in just our team. It's he and I. It's great to have his view of it. I never agree with it. I am always right. But
Of course.
of course, but unfortunately, sometimes he's right. Doggone it! It makes me so upset. But his view is so important, because
Right.
I would never look at something like that. And so
Right.
this is, you're taking people on a team that you have people like me who are very extroverted, very big picture, and he's pinpoint focused,
Right.
systematic, very. And how do we work together? I think it's great. And so, do you find that a lot of the problems or challenges that are on teams is communication and how they communicate with each other?
Yes, and just let me expand on what you just said. So
Yeah,
you have a team of two there, and you know your strengths and weaknesses. You know what you're going to be good at versus your husband. You know how to rely on each other. But that's just two of you. But imagine there are 9 different styles. And going through problem solving, there is a strength associated with each one of those 9 styles, right? So you can see the importance, even among the two of you, the importance of having a diverse team, right? Because you're getting these different perspectives. So what, when using the Enneagram, you're like, oh, well, there's 9 different styles. There's really 9 different perspectives that we can be relying on as we move through problem
right.
solving. And so just appreciating that and appreciating that style diversity on teams, whether, it's sometimes we're pulling our hair out because the styles are so different.
Yes.
But it makes us all stronger when we do learn to work with each other and appreciate each other's strengths, and learn, the way to communicate with each of those styles, because each one of those styles is going to have an intrinsic way of looking at the world and
Yep.
communicating with the world
Yeah.
that if you don't understand that and understand your own style, then you're going to start to have those communication mismatches. So I think that is, and this is one of the things I do with Enneagram workshops, is once you understand your own Enneagram type and your own communication needs, and then the communication needs of others, then you can start to adjust, or in engineering speak, modulate your style so that you can better connect with people and and build rapport with them, which is ultimately what you're trying to do.
Right. And back when I was in the corporate world, I had a boss that was very, very, I want this. And he would say, did this happen? And I would say, oh, have a great day. I hope you're doing well. And, oh, it was such a great meeting. These are the people who were here. And I would answer his questions, but I would, paint this delightful picture for him. And he's like, why can't you just get to the point? And finally, we sat down. We had somebody else come in and, like talk with us, because we were both really important to each other, but we were like ready to kill each other.
Right.
And finally, someone said, you guys, you have two different styles.
Right.
Dana, understand what he needs. Bob, you need to understand what Dana needs. Oh, and so he knew that I was going to throw some fluff in, and I knew he really wanted to get to the point. And so I worked very hard at minimal fluff, and he didn't care that it was a nice day. He didn't care that it was a Tuesday. Just give me the answer. So we got along so much better once we understood that. And
exactly.
This is important. I mean, this is
exactly
like crazy. But there has
you're it's so funny, because you're mentioning the it sounds to me like the type 8 style. The type 8 style, get to the point so we can get to action, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of communicate in bullet points. They speak in bullet points, and they want to consume information in bullet points, right? So I'll coach people who have to work with type 8s is, just think about it in terms of bullet points. In fact, keep it to a text. If you can text them, then that's the way they want to communicate, in a text.
And I hate text. I hate text.
Right.
I hate text.
So
the only thing I want to know what time we're meeting for margaritas. That's the only thing I want in a text. Just give me the time. That's it. But this all sounds really rosy and cheery. Oh, we're going to find out what our idioms are, and we're going to work all better together. Yay! Is there a downside to using this approach? And you talk about that in your book.
So the one of the things that happens when you're working through problem solving, right, is it takes time. It takes time to get people on board with the problem you're solving. It takes time to get people into alignment. It takes time to, collect all of the interesting ideas to solve the problem, right? So, and if you can take the time to do it and work your team through, that's where you get these lovely, lasting, effective solutions, right? Because you build common cause, and then you get team buy-in for the solution, and then you get that emotional, investment into making it work. But if you don't have time, if the fire is burning and you need to go put out the fire, you don't have time for a systematic problem solving approach.
Right. Yeah. You just need to know where the fire extinguisher is.
Yeah. If you're solving a problem on your own, and there's not a lot of other constituents in that process. In other words, if not a lot of people are going to be affected by the solution that you put in place, then you can just kind of ad hoc wing it, right? And you know, the downside's not going to be that great. It's when you're trying to build something that's going to work for a lot of people and you need a lot of buy-in. That's really where it's important to take a more systematic approach, I think.
Right. And it just sounds like this approach would also build trust, and so you can trust that person is wanting the best outcome, is not trying to stab you in the back or outshine you, or that it's we're here together with that. It just sounds that's what this is helping with.
Right, right.
Yeah, great.
And that's really, a lot of this happens right in step one of problem solving,
Really?
where you listen carefully to each other's perspectives on what the problem is. It's like, the elephant in the room, right? In a dark room, oh, I'm being crushed against the wall. Oh, I'm getting wet. Oh, everybody has this different perspective, but the problem is there's an elephant in the room.
Right,
and so,
right.
Getting people to appreciate that the commonality of the problem that they're trying to solve is it really is a team building process. And that's where, you could just see the teams come together as they realize, oh yeah, I get it now. There's a lot of empathy built into that.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Now, we've mentioned your book a couple times. So the book is called Teamwork 9.0. Do you happen to have a copy of it hanging around there that you could show us?
Sure, yeah.
Look at that.
This is it.
Yeah, look at all those happy hands working together. Yay!
Exactly. Putting the puzzle together.
That's it.
All 9 types.
Perfect. Well, so your book is a great read, has lots of great information. If you are looking to solve some problems on your team, it might not be a bad idea to take a peek at this. And if you are, this has been such great information, Matt. I'll tell you. I've heard you speak before. Fascinating, such great information and usable. It's not pie in the sky. This is stuff that we can put into practice. So thank you so much for being here with us and sharing. I just appreciate you so much. I'd like to share your information. So for those of you who would like to reach out to Matt, he is so gracious. Here's his phone number, and his website is evolutionaryteams.com. Who would not want to have an evolutionary team? Let's make a difference in our business and in our employees' life, make their lives better so they can do better. I think that's a big part of it. So if you want to get a hold of Matt, here's his information. And if you would like to get a hold of me, if I could be of service to you in any kind of way, there's my information as well. And again, Matt, thank you so much for this. Really appreciate you, and the information you gave us was great. So thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
We have just a minute or two. Do you have one point? I just want one point that you want to either go back and kick, or do you have some new little insight for us before we sign off?
Well, so the starting point with this, to really get the most out of this and get the most out of the book, is start with exploring the Enneagram. And, there is an Enneagram quiz that's available on my website that you can take that and start to really appreciate your own style and how your style plays on the team and contributes to the team, and then how the other styles start to play on the team. And I think that's really the starting point to understanding all of this. And it's such a great journey, a great personal growth journey for anybody who goes down that path.
Most excellent. I'm going to go to your website and I will take that little test because I think it sounds very interesting. So great. Thank you, Matt. You've been fabulous. Great information. Again, I just love this. People, take advantage of this great information. Go to that website and take that test. And contact Matt for more information. So until next Tuesday on Business Inspiration, have a great day and goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.